I'm Chris Slight, the editor of International Construction magazine, and welcome to this video about the 2015 edition of the Yellow Table, which is our ranking of the world's 50 largest construction equipment manufacturers. Now really this study has two functions. First of all, it's an industry ranking from 1 to 50 of the global industry's major players. But secondly, because we've been doing this study for a long time, it also shows trends in the industry. But first of all, let's have a look at the ranking and the top 10 this year. Caterpillar and Komatsu retained their number 1 and number 2 positions, as they have done over the 13-year history of the Yellow Table. Volvo and Hitachi swapped places compared to last year, although in truth there's very little in it. And also within the top 10, Terex and Liebherr have traded places. But the most significant change, I would say, is XCMG's move into the top 10, which establishes it as China's largest construction equipment manufacturer, ahead of SANY and Zoomlion. And the company's 3-place rise reflects the increase in its revenues following its acquisition of German concrete equipment manufacturer Schwing. This slide shows the share of the major players, and as you can see, the top 10 account for just under 60% of the top 50's revenues. It reiterates the point I made about Caterpillar and Komatsu looking very solid in first and second places. However, Caterpillar's share is down from the 19% it had a year ago. And that's due to the fall in the value of equipment it sold last year. In 2014, it sold about $2.8 billion worth of equipment less than it did in 2013. And that came down to the fall in the global mining industry. And the decline in the global mining industry played a part throughout the Yellow Table last year. Many of the companies that are particularly exposed to that industry did lose places in the league table compared to last year. Another key factor was the weakness in many emerging markets, and of course there are no emerging markets more significant than China. And the weakness in China last year really impacted on many of the Chinese manufacturers. Among the biggest fallers last year were Shantui and XGMA, just to name two. But of course, when companies fall down the rankings, others rise up. And it seemed to be a good year for the Japanese manufacturers last year. The weak yen is helping, and there does seem to be a bit of life in the domestic market. And that played particularly well for Furukawa, Takeuchi and Tadano. This slide shows the revenues for the top 50. And as you can see, they were down last year. They fell 2.6% compared to 2013 to $159 billion. So that's not good, but it wasn't as severe as the 12.2% drop in revenues seen in last year's Yellow Table, which was based on 2013 revenues. Still, at $159 billion, revenues last year for the top 50 were about 15% lower than the all-time high of $186 billion seen in 2012, and it's also below the pre-crisis high of $168 billion seen in 2008. The Yellow Table is published in the April edition of International Construction magazine, and if you'd like a free subscription to the magazine, you can register online at www.khl.com via the subscriptions page. We also have a report that you can buy from our information store, which is a compendium of 5 years of the Yellow Table, so from 2011 to 2015. And that obviously offers a lot more information and analysis, as well as a more in-depth look at the long-term trends in the industry. Thanks very much for watching.